What's cracking, everybody? Felrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today I'm bringing you one of my new favorite best teams in the Open Great League. Climbed almost 400 points with this team since Monday of this rotation up to about, I think I stopped at about Friday, and I got to 2950 from 2590. So this team absolutely slaps, has the Azumarill Marowak core, Medicham in the back as the safe swap, and actually does really well if you've got some good XL IVs, which I just recently finished some of my Great League XLs after working on them for a long time. So glad to put them to use here, and you guys are going to see just how strong this team is. Absolutely slaps. Now, real quick before we get into the video, huge thank you to my patron supporters. If you guys would like to join the patron Discord, get access to teams like this, and climb tons of points before they go live on YouTube, please check out the link in the description. And if you're looking to improve your gameplay mechanically or just in general, I do offer coaching and Medify, so please check that out as well. Link in the description for that. And just thank you guys so much for just supporting me, whether you're a subscriber, Patreon subscriber, or just watching this video. It all means the world to me. So thank you so much. Let's get right into these battles here, hoping to just display just how strong this team is. So Shadow Alolan Marowak recently got the rocket event that you could TM frustration off of, and I did not get one before I was able to get this. I wasn't able to TM my frustration away before the end of the last event, so I get a really bad beat here with an Umbreon lead, have to bail out into Medicham immediately, and I get met with an Azumarill. So I have to attempt to try and play this out. I'm really hoping that my opponent doesn't know that I actually win the 2 shields here, or I lose the 2 shields and I just win the 1 shield. So I'm really hoping that by putting up 1 shield, maybe they just decide that they don't need to shield, or maybe I can get a defense drop or something anyway. Probably should have baited a Psychic, or baited with the Ice Punch at some point here. Might have made it a bit more in my favor, but the opponent now is going to start shielding because they do need to win swap here to keep their Umbreon on my Marowak. So I'm going to shield this up because I am going to do my best to win switch here. That's the only way that I win this game at this point. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw the Psychic. I probably should have gone for double Ice Punch here in hindsight. But I really wanted to try and take this thing out, and I was hoping that I could outpace. But unfortunately, my opponent is going to be able to get that, so I think I make an attempt to catch on my Marowak, and I fail. And even then, probably not worth it. So they're going to get me with the play rough, and that's okay. Now, I know that they're energy dry here, so what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to come in with my Marowak, and I'm going to farm it all the way down. Should be, if they're going to get to a play rough, then that's going to be 6, and I'm going to be able to get exactly 6 fire spins in here before they're going to get to a move. So either they weren't running Hydro Pump or they weren't able to get to it, and that is good for me because now Umbreon comes in and shields down, and my opponent brings in a Talonflame. And do you know how I run Hydro Pump? It is for this exact situation right here, ladies and gentlemen. First battle of the video is going to end on a high note with this Hydro Pump one-shotting a Talonflame. Absolutely destroyed. And now the Umbreon comes back in, and they're going to try and play this out until they get to 5 and realize that they don't have a chance, so they quit. Well played. So that's why Medicham is so strong, because if I get into a neutral lead or a neutral safe switch or something, even like a Azumarill, I can still take it to the 2 shields and have a chance. So Swampert lead, disgusting. I have to swap out. Skarmory comes in and absolutely just comes in to hard counter me. So this is the Swampert Skarmory core, but honestly, Medicham kind of draws this out regardless, or it maybe draws out maybe a Sableye or something that I want my Marowak to either not see or farm down. Now, obviously, had this been a Sableye swap in, that would have been even worse, because the Sableye could have easily taken me down and had move stored probably for my Marowak, which would have been a very bad situation. So, and that unfortunately is one of the things that this team does struggle with, is a Sableye lead. But most other leads is okay. Now, I do save a shield here, and I attempt to farm down on Marowak. Now, I will have to shield a charge move here. Unfortunately, I think they were at the Brave Bird, and that's just, it is what it is. You kind of have to shield at this point. I have to keep my Marowak healthy. So they do get the shield back from me, but now they're going to come in with the Swampert, and because my Marowak is so ahead on energy, and a Shadow Bone actually hurts a lot, even against a regular Swampert. Like that. See, the over 60%, I get the defense drop. Now, I look to try and catch a Hydro Cannon, but I fail, unfortunately, and I bet you they're running Sludge Wave or something. So, nope, I do catch a Hydro Cannon, thankfully. They either went for the bait, or they didn't have the Sludge Wave. So, Stunfisk comes in. My opponent is running a Swampert double Steel line, which is very, very peculiar. But they are in a pretty good situation here. I am going to save my entire shield for my Marowak in order to deal with the farm down and potentially 2-shotting this team, because I know that my Marowak is actually going to be able to take down both of these Pokemon as long as it has a shield. I just need to get there. So Marowak is going to come in. I'm going to let this move go. If it's a Rock Slide, great. I get to a Hydro Pump. If it's not Earthquake, that's fine. Let the Marowak come back in. And I know they're at no energy right now, so that means I'm going to be able to farm up quite a bit. I can safely shield this. And then the opponent was not quite at a move yet on their Swampert. So I'm going to be able to come in, and because they were 2 away, I'm going to be able to get this Bone Club off here, and that is going to take out Swampert. And then the Bone Club that comes right after is going to take out the Stunfisk, and that is a good game, getting absolutely hard countered from start to finish just about. I mean, except for the Stunfisk, I guess, but it's close enough that it wasn't good. So able to take it out, and that is a good game, and that is just displaying the absolute strength of some of the XLs. And I don't really advocate for having XLs all the time, but you know what? Sometimes it's just part of the game and you got to roll with it. So I get a Medicham into this Lickitung lead. Now, this is probably Lickitung Double Fighter. I go straight for Psychic here. I'm hoping that maybe they call a bait on my Ice Punch, and hopefully they don't shield it. But the opponent does smartly shield this, not letting their Toxicroak go down immediately. If my Medicham is left with too much HP, it will roll through the Lickitung or whatever other fighter they have in the back. So, they do farm up some energy, and we do get some lag here, so now I'm unsure of how much energy they have, but I know they have enough for a Sludge Bomb, so I do shield it up. Now Sludge Bomb comes, it gets the shield, and I'm going to shield up this next move because at this point, I've got 2 Ice Punches, which is going to guarantee me switch, which keeps their Lickitung off of my Marowak, and I'm going to be able to get one of these Ice Punches through, and I'm fine with giving up 2 shields here. My Medicham has a bunch of HP left. If they bring in another fighter, that's fine. We dominate it. If they bring in Lickitung just like this, that's fine. We also have enough HP to put a serious hurting on it, and then hopefully Azumarill and Marowak can deal with whatever other fighting type they may have in the back. So just gonna let my Lickitung, or gonna let my Medicham do all the work here. Sweep the whole team. That's the thing with Medicham. Even if it doesn't have Power-Up Punch, if you let it go unchecked and it has a bunch of HP, it can still do a lot of damage. So the opponent brings in Surfetch, and I immediately come in with my Marowak to keep it off of the Lickitung. Now, they do have Night Slash, Leaf Blade most likely on the Surfetch, so this is an extremely difficult matchup for my Marowak to overcome. So what I'm hoping to do here is I'm hoping to get it as low as I can, and then I want to come in with my Azumarill, hopefully maybe farm it down. But they're probably going to be able to get to the move here. And they do CMP me here, which guarantees that I will lose the CMP because Surfetch is so attack weighted. And unfortunately, it looks like I'm probably going to lose this game because all they have to do is get to a couple Leaf Blades against me, and I'm not going to be able to farm them down in time for that to happen. So this is looking like a good game. And the only way that I win this is if I somehow am able to farm down and get to a Play Rough and or Hydro Pump, and the Lickitung either loses CMP or doesn't have a move. So they're able to get there just in time, and unfortunately it's just too close for me not to be able to bubble it down. One more bubble would have done it, but that's okay. Can't win them all. Leaf Blade comes through, takes out Azumarill, and that is a good game. Very well played to my opponent. Lickitung Double Fighter is an absolute pain for this team if you can't line it up. Now, Golbat leads something super spicy, facing a current Legend player, Uber Fatty, so shout outs to them. Very nice job on reaching Legend so early in the season here. Gonna continue to play this out. My opponent actually brings in, they farm up like genius. That's why they're Legend. They're outsmarting me already. So they get the Scrafty swaps in to catch my Shadow Bone, and I'm gonna I'm gonna attempt to catch a Foul Play on my Medicham, which I mean, I guess I'm gonna tank one anyway, so it forces him to throw the energy, but at least I've got some energy back on my Marowak for later. Now I'm gonna be able to tank a couple of Foul Plays from this Scrafty, hopefully try to farm it down, and I'm really gonna try to put some pressure on this Golbat to get a shield off of it, and or do a lot of damage with a couple Ice Punches. So Foul Play comes in and leaves me pretty low. It gives me to a point where this Golbat could easily farm me down without having to worry too much here. So we do CMP title. The opponent not wanting to give me the chance to use my energy, I will give up a shield because I know that I can get at least one Ice Punch to get that shield back. And honestly, having a Azumarill with at least one or no shields on the opponent's end is going to be a lot better for me than if they have 2 shields, because Azumarill is just so slow to get to those moves. And the opponent catches my Ice Punch on a Walrein, which was too incredibly funny because that was just an absolutely stunning play by my opponent. I am going to bring in my Marowak here because it's much better suited to take out this Walrein and or at least get the shield from the opponent, and then Azumarill can probably cleanly take this in the back, but the opponent doesn't even get to an Icicle Spear, unfortunately, and they just concede. I don't know if it was because they were Legend or knew that they had no way to win, but regardless, very good game to my opponent, and an editing error on myself. I actually this next game doesn't count. I missed it in my editing, but yeah, this is a win. So we added a couple more games in the beginning to make up for it. Sableye lead, this is terrible, and normally I would be like, man, I need to play this out and get some shields, but opponent does one Shadow Claw and quits the game, and I'm not really sure why. So great. Good game, I guess. I don't know. I'll take the win as I'm climbing up this ELO ladder here. But Bastion lead, this is actually not great for Shadow A-Wak and Marowak because of those rock moves, but I'm expecting this to be some variation of the Grass Hole team. So I am going to come in with my Medicham and bait it out here. And going to be able to get 2 Ice Punches off, and I'm hoping that I get 2 shields here. I know that they're going to try to win switch. They're going to just try and farm me all the way down, which is fine, but going for back-to-back Ice Punches here is going to guarantee me not only shields, but it also guarantees me that I'm going to get a bunch of farm on my Marowak, which means that 3 Bone Clubs is enough to take out a Bastiodon from full HP. So giving me some farm is ideal here, even if I don't win swap. Had I win swap, I have Hydro Pump on my Azu, so most versions of this team are either going to run a Tropius, a Medicham, or a Deoxys in the back, for the most part. So if it's any one of those 3, I'm looking pretty good. They Acid Spray me here and attempt to get some farm down, but I'm not going to give it to them, not too much. And now, as soon as the Bastion comes in, I'm not letting the defense drop get me, but they come in with a Medicham, and they know that they've got no shields to my 2 shields, and that is over. Good game, because all I had to do was either farm down that Medicham and have 2 shields for the Bastion, or I could have just hit it with a Hydro Pump and that would have been it. So a Shadow Kanto Marowak, or Shadow Kanto Ninetales lead is one of my favorite other fire types to run in the Great League. I haven't really had a good time with it yet this season. The Great League and even the Open Ultra League metas seem just so diverse that it's very hard to get any consistency out of these things. So I am going to expect the overheat here. The opponent probably doesn't want to bait, and there are no shielding, so I'm expecting to just get rid of it. So here comes a Pelipper. Pelipper's a pain in the butt. So I'm going to go straight for a Shadow Bone here to try and get a shield and do some damage, and I'm going to come in with my Azumarill, and I actually forgot the counts for Hurricane. I thought it was 10-10-10, not 10-9-9 or something like that. So I am going to go for the Play Rough here. This is probably my best response to the Pelipper because Medicham doesn't really want to see it. So I'm going to have to go for these Play Roughs and just try to either win this matchup or put the Pelipper in a range where I can farm it down. And then hope that whatever's in the back speaks to Medicham, because we'll see. So the Pelipper is going to be able to get to another Hurricane right before and CMP me. So unfortunately, I try to call this as a Weather Ball bait, but unfortunately, I had miscounted and not remembered the count. So Hurricane is going to take me out. And you know what? I'm going to give it to him. Absolutely takes out Azumarill. And now I'm going to try to farm down. I'm going to guard against this the Weather Ball. So the Weather Ball is going to get the shield here because I need to keep my Marowak alive here. And it's got some energy. I'm down shield, but that's okay because now they're going to come with the Ninetales. I'm going to go straight for a Bone Club. I know I could probably get to 2 Bone Clubs here before they can get me out with Weather Ball themselves. So and then they've got a Wall Rain in the back, which means I win the game because they have nothing else, and I've got Medicham. So gonna go for the Shadow Bone here, hoping to get a shield off of him. I do, and now all I have to do is go on to Medicham, get a Psychic off, and that's gonna be the game. And I think my opponent knows it because they're excuse me, they're going straight for Icicle Spear here. Not gonna be nearly enough to take out the Medicham, and I'm gonna go for the Psychic if they don't concede, but they do concede, and that is a good game. Well played to my opponent. Climbing ever higher. 2796 in this set. I did, like I said, I got all the way up to 2950 with this team. And then I'm falling back down currently as we speak because the meta has shifted against me again. Oh, it's fun. I go straight into Medicham for the Azumarill lead. Lately, what I've been doing is throwing a Shadow Bone and then dipping to Medicham or catching on Azu. I think I'd rather catch it on Azu. Try to catch a Hydro Pump on Azu. So the way I play this out now. So throw the Shadow Bone immediately and then go 1 more Fire Spin, dip to Azumarill, try to catch that Hydro Pump. My opponent comes in with a Nidoqueen. I have some energy, but I'm down a shield. They're going to go straight for Poison Fang. I'm not going to shield the first one. My best bet here is I get 2 shields off of them, so that's what I'm going to try to do here before it takes me out. So we're going to go for these 2 Ice Punches here, and then I'm going to attempt to get both shields off my opponent. Now that I know that they have an Azumarill in the lead, my Marowak is safely going to be able to deal with this Nidoqueen if I play this correctly. So not going to shield up that last one, so now it puts Marowak in a position to be able to farm it all the way down with 2 Fire Spins. I will shield this up in case it is a potential Earth Power because they did get up to enough. It is the Earth Power. That is an excellent shield on my part. That's going to keep me and my Marowak in the game. They may be up a shield, but again, I've got Marowak, and now they're going to come up with the Azumarill, and the question is do they really recognize the value of their Azumarill, given that I swapped into Medicham to counter it? No, they don't. They don't bother to shield it, so now they're going to come in with Scrafty, and I've got Azumarill in the back, and that is a good game. There's nothing my opponent can do here, even if they ran something like Acid Spray. I need to get to 2 play roughs at this point, and I'm going to be able to get there long before their charge moves are going to be able to do enough damage to take me out. So rather than living out this horrible endgame nightmare, my opponent will actually concede after this, I believe. So regardless, a very good game to them. Once they see that I'm running play rough, I think that was when they decided to call it. And they realized that the foul play was just not going to do enough damage. They're just going power punch here. Probably, if you're stuck in the situation you're the Scrafty, I probably would just go for the foul plays to do some more damage, but that's okay. Well played to my opponent regardless. Just kind of got a little RPS there. Rock, paper, scissors kind of sucks, but Marowak into Granbull. I love charm leads, especially when they're frail charm leads or even Alolan Ninetales, but the opponent stays in here. Maybe he doesn't have the sharpest answer in the shed for my Marowak. They come in with a Komao. And as spicy as this is, I kind of recognize at this point they're probably trying to draw out my Azu. So I come up with my Medicham instead. And the reason why I do this is because Medicham is going to be able to take this thing, counter it all the way down. It's not going to get KO'd by 1 Dragon Tail or even close combat at all. Not even close. So I'm going to be able to get at least 1, maybe 2 Ice Punches off on this Granbull, which is going to get both shields or at least 1 shield. And then I'm going to be able to shield the incoming Crunch when my Marowak comes back in. And then easily farm it down. And then whatever they've got left in the back, I'm gonna hope that it's another thing weak to Azumarill, because like I said, what was likely happening here was they were trying to draw out my Azumarill because it is one of the hardest walls to Komao in the game. And I'm hoping that by not swapping it into such an obvious situation that hopefully I've left it in the back to be able to counter something. And it's another Kanto Shadow Ninetales, and as soon as I show them the Azumarill, they are guaranteed to lose this game or forfeit, whatever the word we want to use, concede. So once again, now I could have been okay with this with my Medicham, but I think it was a much safer situation for me to just bring in my Medicham, because then it gives me charge moves to threaten the Granbull left with. And just in case they had something else in there that I just didn't want to see. So I counter with my Medicham. Now the thing is with the Medicham matchup against Lickitung, if you do not shield the body slams, and your opponent correctly shields at least 1 Psychic, Medicham loses this matchup. But my opponent does not shield the Psychic, and because of that, I will be able to no shield take them out. Now, so had they shielded that Psychic, they would have absolutely had a chance to take me out, because the only way that Medicham wins this matchup is by successfully landing moves and not being shielded. So Body Slam comes through. I think they left some farm for their own Medicham. I'm surprised that they tried to undercharge it there, but I mean, I'll take it. It means that I'm going to be able to get a Psychic off against their Medicham, and their Medicham looking pretty ripe for the rest of my team here. So Medicham doesn't really have anywhere to go against me here anymore now that my Medicham has left the picture and taken out their Lickitung. I'm hoping that maybe they have a wall rain in the back that would kind of make this a little bit easier, but my opponent starts baiting me with Ice Punch, and at this point I figure that they're probably weak to Alolan Marowak in the back, because now they're shielding my Bone Clubs. And so even if they don't have Psychic, which they don't show me not even once here, they just continuously bait with Ice Punches. So I'm wondering if they're running Power Up Punch, Ice Punch, but at this point, I know that a Psychic would come dangerously close to taking me out, so I would much rather save my health and keep my Marowak alive if I can get their next shield, which I do. Now I'm going to try to farm down after I shield this Ice Punch here. I wasn't sure if they were at the Psychic or not, but I wasn't taking a chance because they were obviously weak in the back to it. And here comes a Ninetales, and that is exactly why they didn't swap out. Gonna go straight for the Shadow Bone, and then it's to show the Azumarill, and the Azumarill's so bulky that it just wins the rest of the game for me. So that's going to be a good game, well played to my opponent. They concede at that point. A couple more games here. It's been sweaty in the open leagues, man. I don't know what's going on, but it's just super, super inconsistent, sweaty, all kinds of teams coming out of the woodwork. So safe swapping into my Medicham here. So the reason why I throw one Fire Spin first against neutral things is just to make sure that my opponent doesn't swap out first, because I have had some situations where the opponent did swap out right away as I went to swap out, and then it was like they save swap in Lickitung and I save swap in, you know, something that doesn't do well, like, you know, swap in my Azumarill, for example, or if they had a you know, if they had a Nidoqueen save swap and I save swap my Medicham in, like, obviously that's a situation that's not so ideal for Medicham. So just something that I started doing with this team to prevent getting caught with your pants down against some of these other teams that have, like, you know, save swaps that kind of do good against the back line. Because the thing is, if you catch like a Walrein lead and they save swap, typically you're going to want to just keep your Medicham in the back, and sometimes you even want to play that out with Marowak. So if they come in with a Nidoqueen, that's ideal for Marowak to play that out, because obviously then you just keep your Medicham in the back from the Walrein and that's it. So one thing though is that this team does kind of struggle a little bit with Trevenant too, and I get that one turn desync that prevents me from throwing a Fire Spin here, which is really annoying. So I do have to shield this up. My opponent has a ton of energy, and I'm expecting them to probably have back-to-back Rock Slides, so I will let one Rock Slide go, but at this point, it's okay to save a shield, and I'm gonna see what they have in the back. And here's to bring in the Ninetales. They hard bring in the Ninetales, so I'm going to bring in my Azumarill here. I know that Deoxys is so low that it has no energy, and there's not anything that it's going to be able to really do against me, so I can even farm it down with my Azumarill. I'm going to try to farm this Ninetales all the way down. My opponent sees that, and they probably got something weak in the back to Azumarill, and they let it go and have a good game. So Walrein lead. So this is what I was talking about just a minute ago. So we're going to do one Fire Spin and then save swap into Medicham if they don't swap first. So here comes Medicham, and they're going to bring in the Sableye here. So this is really rough because Sableye has a solid shot here to completely just destroy my Medicham. But what the Sableye probably maybe doesn't know is that if I do take this to the 2 shields, or if they don't shield 2 Ice Punches, right? If they let this next Ice Punch go, there's a chance that they lose switch here. Now, I know that I can eat one Foul Play, and I can still get to this next Ice Punch, so I will do so, and that actually puts my Marowak in a position where it could farm, or Azumarill could also farm. So I'm going to let my Medicham go, and what I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to come in with Azumarill, and I'm just going to get some farm here. The worst they're going to do is throw a Foul Play at me, and I don't need to shield this, because I know that it's not going to do very much damage. So they do get to a return though, and that does hurt. So even if it's a return though, I'm not putting a shield down on it because it just isn't worth it at this point. I'd rather save the shields for my Marowak, knowing that there's probably a Trevenant in the back. But nope, they've got an Nidoqueen in the back, and that's terrible. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get to this Hydro Pump. My opponent swaps on to catch the Hydro Pump like an absolute genius. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a nail biter. Hydro Pump is going to get caught on this Walrein, and that is just really unfortunate. So I'm going to try and farm up some extra energy here. I want to force this opponent to throw energy here. So I'm going to no shield, and what I'm hoping to do here is I'm hoping to 2 shield, and I'm going to just go straight for it with Alolan Marowak. I'm going to absolutely just show the world that my Marowak has what it takes to take out both a Nidoqueen and a Walrein. So let's go. Player Rough is going to come through, and my opponent doesn't shield it. I come up with Marowak and I snipe it down, and now with 2 shields should be able to get a couple Bone Clubs off here, and my opponent is going to just try and hit me with an Earth Power. They're at Earth Power right now, but they throw Poison Fang, and I'm like, shoot, all right. Because they didn't go straight for it, now my only win condition here is that I call Poison Fang bait. And so my opponent's only win condition here is to get both my shields with the Poison Fang. So here comes the next Bone Club. I'm just going to throw a flurry of Bone Clubs until my opponent has no energy left. And if I can successfully not shield, or if I can successfully shield the Earth Power, I'm good. So here, I'm going to call this right here. The only way I win this game is by calling this as a Poison Fang, and my opponent throws the Poison Fang, and that is going to be a good game because I just shield the next move no matter what it is, and this is just a Poison Fang. And I'm going to go able to get this Bone Club off, and that is going to close out this game and secure a, I believe this was a 4-1 or a 5-0. I don't know, but I gained a ton of ELO. Once again, almost 400 points with this team up in just a few days. This team has been absolutely insane for me until today when I dropped a little bit with it, but that's okay. Not every team is going to do it for you for the entire time, but unfortunately just wasn't able to get to legend with it yet. But yeah, that's a 5-0 to end this team. I'm telling you, this team is super strong. Like, I wouldn't put it up here if I didn't believe in it, and myself and the patron group have been running it all week, and we've been absolutely slaying with it. So if you, again, would like to join that group and get early access to these teams and get those super great meta tips and climb some ELO while you're at it, link in the description for that patron Discord, and also the coaching if you're looking to get better at the game or just want to, you know, learn some things. That's okay too. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you sticking with me through this video, and I hope this team does you well, and I really, really hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much, and have a great one. Bye-bye.